or simply what is JavaScript. So JavaScript, I would simply write JS, is a programming language. And it is used both in front end as well as in back end. It's a low level language. It is a low level language, or you can say high level language. The high level language. So JavaScript, it is a synchronous language. Moving ahead. First of all, how does the JavaScript appears when you write any code? Like for example, suppose when you are going to write any code, like when you write any code, example, let a equals to 4, and then you are going to write let a equals to 4, let 2 b equals to 5, anything you write like this. Okay, so how does it appears is like this. Wait a second. So how it is going to appear? It is going to appear in this way. When you write let a equals to 4 or let b equals to 5, okay? So when you write let a equals to 4 and b equals to 5, then how it is going to be appearing? So basically it appears in this manner. A memory kind of is created inside the memory like this, and from here one side is responsible for first side is responsible as memory, and the second side is responsible as code, So when you write let a equals to 4 and b equals to 5, so before writing only or before getting its value, memory gets allocated. So when you write let a equals to 4 and b equals to 5, then inside the memory it is stored like this. How it is going to be stored? Suppose it would be like a, and here it would be undefined. Okay, b undefined. In this manner it gets stored over here. And suppose when you write one more thing which you include inside it, like function, when you include function inside it, then how the things are going to be appearing? So when you are going to write a function, so then you will write function inside it. So how the things are going to appear? Suppose you have written inside the function and a equals to a is already given, and sorry, there is no data type for JavaScript. You simply write a equals or d equals to 10. Okay, So when you write inside the function in this manner, now for the function, it is going to be allocated in this manner only. Okay, simply like this, that there is some values, something, some function inside the function, something is taking place, but it is going to be stored in this manner. When let a equals to 4, then a is defined undefined, b equals to 5, b is also undefined. Then one function is declared, then it will get stored in the memory, but it does not have a clear value that what is inside the function. And for the function part, what will happen, that a separate memory is going to be created over here. For the function part, what will happen, that for a function part, what will happen, for a function part, what will happen, a separate memory gets allocated for the function part. One more fresh memory gets allocated, and when the JavaScript gets allocated anywhere, it is allocated in this manner only. Again, it would be allocated in the form of memory and code. Again, it gets allocated in the form of memory. Let me increase its size. So what will happen, that again it is going to be allocated. Oh gosh, where did everything went? Wait a second. So again it gets allocated in the form of, again it is going to be allocated in the form of memory and code. So for the separate function which we have created inside the memory, how the things are going to appear. Inside the function, d is declared, so d will be stored and it will be undefined. And when it comes in the part of running the code, so while running it assigns the value. When it would run, then what will happen, that this undefined value gets cleared up, and b undefined will also get cleared up. And instead of a, what here it would be written, here it would allocate the value 4 and here it would allocate the value 5. And then the function is called, then for the function it is going to run, then the function d part which was initialized, which was stored as undefined, now it will get stored over here 10. So for any function, so anything which is created, the function, the memory inside, whenever any JavaScript is written, then the memory and the code gets allocated in this manner. Taking another example, suppose this time the function is let b equals to 11, let d equals to 19, and one more function is going to be created, function, and inside the function what will happen, that there is one more function will be created inside the function. So one more function is going to be created inside this function. And suppose inside this function it is written let a equals to 10. Inside this function which is written let, inside the function part, suppose inside this function it is written let let name equals to, or simply let z equals to 45. Then this is written, and inside this function, suppose inside this function, let y equals to 28 is written. So in this manner, what will happen, that this separate memory gets allocated over here. A separate memory gets allocated whenever any JavaScript is declared. So a separate memory would be getting declared over here, and it would be in the same manner. On one side would be taking the value of the memory. So one side it would be memory, and the other side it would be code. So inside the memory, what will happen? First of all, when the values are initialized, like let b, d. So when the values are initialized in JavaScript, at that time only the values get stored as undefined. What it means, that here it would be that there is a value of b. So here it would be that there is the value of b and is declared as undefined. Then it would be there's a value of d, and d is also declared as undefined. Then the function is created. For the function part also it will happen that function is declared. It will not know what is inside this function, but it will show that the function is declared inside it. Then it would be for y part also, that y would be undefined. So it is going to be stored in this manner. And then it came about the function. For the function, now the time comes for the code to run. When the time comes for the code to run, so what will happen, that b would be the b which was declared undefined, it would be declared 11 instead. D which was undefined, it will also have the value of 19. The function which shows that a function, so a separate tabular form would be created for the function in this manner. Means a brand new memory and code place is allocated for these functions, and all. Here it would be having memory, and here it will be having code. And in the same manner, inside the function y is given, so y would be stored as undefined. Initially it will also be stored as undefined, but at the time of code run it will get its value as 28. And after that, then so in this way the memory and codes are allocated in the JavaScript. And JavaScript stores everything as call stack. Means if it is represented in the call stack form for this, suppose for this code, then this is GEC, general allocated memory. Means general is the general part, and here a equals to 4 is called. So here a is declared and its value is declared as 4. Then b is also declared over here only, but when it comes for the function part, so it calls the function from here. So that's why the function gets the memory, but what the value is inside, or what the kind of work the function is doing, it is undeclared. So the function is going to call in a separate call stack, and whatever its work or whatever it is declared, any value is declared, after doing the function work, it gets erased over here. Means the memory gets freed up from over here. Then it returns back to this, and suppose if anything below function would have been written, so it would be doing that. So this is all for memory allocation and function in the JavaScript. Now moving ahead. So JavaScript works in the form of call stack. Means it does one work at a time. Then only it moves for the other work to do. And there one more concept. Let's have one more concept over here only, which is hosting. So there is one more concept which is hosting. So what is hosting? Hosting is the calling of the function. So calling of the function or variable without initializing it. So when I write console.log a in hosting, or suppose console.log a, or suppose you write it before, or you just see console.log a and then we do console.log b. So it's quite obvious that the value of a and b will get printed over here. It's a quite obvious thing. Let's go on console. The value of a is 9 and the value of b is 12. Gets printed over here, right? But now what we are going to do, let's do one thing. Before initializing only, or before initializing this, let's call console.log b. Let's see what happens then. In the console, uncaught reference cannot access b before initialization. In the let part, this is going to show that it's a reference error. Means it cannot access b before initialization. We are trying to access b before initializing it. But if we are going to, at the same time, we are going to declare var b equals to 12, then what you are going to observe that it will not show error and instead it will show undefined. So why this is going to show undefined, and I am going to tell you in the later part that why using let shows the block scope and using var shows the global scope. Paying attention to the only var part. So how it is possible that here what happens that before initializing only we got console.log b as undefined. There was no error when we declared in the background. In the later part it will be clear that why it is declared, why declaring true var lead to the undefined and declaring true let leads to the reference error. So now console.log, and now if I'm going to access b, so what happens? Now the value is going to get printed over here. B now 12 got printed, but when we access just before, then undefined was declared. So this is only called the hoisting. So I hope it would have been clear that hoisting is the calling of the function or variable without before initializing it. Not without, but before initializing its variables and functions can be accessed before initializing. Showing you the example, I've showed you the example. Now moving ahead, what happened? So when we called it, what happened? When we called it, then what happened? That this kind of memory got created over here, over there. Means when you have declared the JavaScript code, at that time only the memory gets allocated to every variable, every function, for the everything. So for example, when we declared a, okay, so it got that a exists over here. Then we declared b, right? So it got b exist over here. Means when a and b got inside the code in the JavaScript, a and b got defined over here as undefined, have some memory allocation as undefined. So before initializing it, before initializing it only, console.log a, here we have initialized a, then we have tried to access it. But in the variable b part, what happens that we have before initializing b, we have tried to access it through console.log b. So what happens in this case, that during the time of code, means inside the memory, a and b gets allocated as undefined. But in the code part, what happens that when the program runs, now this undefined gets changed to the whatever the value 9 or 12 you have put inside it, means you have declared. And if you are going to access it before defining only, then this would be undefined, and when you are going to access it after defining, then you are going to get this value. So this is how the memory allocation takes place, and this is called the hoisting, in which you are trying to get the value of the function or the variable before initializing it. So this is called hoisting, and hoisting is a very important concept. So this is hoisting, and it is really an important concept, that calling of function or variable before initializing it. And what you are going to get when it is going to be declared through variable type, which I'm going to do later, that when it is going to be declared through the variable type, then it is going to store the value of undefined. But when it is going to be declared through let type, then what will happen, that it is going to throw the reference error. This is one for today, and having a small recap, whatever is dealt, like what is JavaScript? It's a programming language and used for both front end and as well as back end, and how it gets initialized inside the memory, means even whenever the JavaScript code gets allocated, then here the memory and the code, it is declared in this manner. Inside the memory, it means before running, it gets allocated the space like this, and we get b and d, it's undefined, then function, then it is for the code part, then again for the memory part, then again for running the code part gets declared, and whenever the function is there, like here the function was there, so whenever the function is there, so what will happen that a brand new the same type of memory and code gets allocated, and inside this function also one more function is going to be there, then what will happen that then in this part the memory and code gets allocated. And the concept of hosting, that the calling of function or variable before initializing it, and the value which going to be exist is undefined, so this is called hosting.